Hello everybody, Pinstripe here. Welcome back to some more Hogs of War. Today it's all about the competitive scene, as tomorrow marks week 1, the starting point of the Hogs of War League, of HAL Season 1. I just want to go over a few points that I didn't necessarily bring up in as much detail in the announcement video for the league, alongside discussing the participants of the league and getting into detail about their previous results in the rank up tournament and in competitive play overall. Of course, if you haven't subscribed to the Hogs of War League channel, then please do. The link to it will be in the description. Over there you'll find all, if not most of the matches being posted on there, with 1 or 2 videos per week having commentary from me, or Caster, or ADB, or even all 3 of us. But basically there is a lot of planning involved, just a lot of time going into this from ourselves and from the community. Having you guys support this competitive event that is run solely by us, it's awesome, and there's just a lot to do. So I apologize if, you know, videos take a back seat on my channel and competitive becomes more of a regular thing per week, both in terms of the matches that I'm playing and having some form of competitive segment where I either get Caster or some of the guys that are participating in the league. We get together and we just sort of talk about the results from the week and what to expect going forward. Fixtures coming up, all that sort of stuff. And of course, when we do get to the playoffs, they will be streamed live, probably over the course of a weekend, like we did with the rank up tournament, to then discover who will be Season 1 champion. Initially, the league was made up of 12 players, but 2 people had to drop out fairly recently, so the number has now dropped down to just 10. You'll remember in my previous video I mentioned the issue of availability and how it's difficult to overcome that obstacle with a competitive league like Hogs of War. Having to get everybody available for a certain time can be difficult, but we've managed to find a workaround, and basically the matches will come out, the fixtures will come out each week, and whoever's playing who, the players will have the entire week to decide amongst themselves when they'll be able to play during that week. Rather than set a fixture date per week and say you must play at this time, the players have the flexibility to decide when is best for them, so that they can complete their fixture, give the result, and the match table can be updated. So because of that, the main thing to expect from the Hogs of War League channel is that matches will come out, or at least be uploaded sporadically throughout the week. So when we get the footage from whatever players, you know, we'll edit the video, we'll put it up, but it won't be, you know, sort of uniform, which match comes first kind of thing. It's basically down to who plays their fixture when is best for them, and essentially the players have the freedom and the flexibility to figure that out for themselves. However, due to the tight schedule, the fixtures that are due to be played each week must be played during that given week, and if players are unable to find a time during that week, then the match that they are meant to be playing will be labelled as a forfeit. It's unfortunate, but basically we're running on a tight schedule and matches need to be played during the specified week. Otherwise we just end up with matches overrunning. You know, we kind of fall behind with certain participants still needing to play 2 games or 3 games. You know, we don't want to fall into that category of being sort of disordered. You know, I've got to keep some kind of a tight ship going when it comes to fixtures. The other issue that we discussed in quite some detail was the idea of, you know, player 1, if you're hosting, then you can see and control the team lineups. So the issue was that if you're player 2 or if you're player 1 or whatever, then basically there is no way of blocking your opponent from being able to see what pigs and classes you're going with during that specific match. Personally, I didn't find this to be too big of an issue, but ultimately the host has the option now to hide the screen and to not show their own lineup to their opponent unless it's agreed upon beforehand. In terms of further details regarding match rules, obviously like I said before, all matches will be best of 3, and the player who goes first in match 1 will take their first turn second in match 2. If it does come to a 3rd match, then that match will be randomized on who goes first, and that's basically chosen by the game. So regardless of if you're player 1 or player 2, the game decides who goes first at random. We also decided that jumping on pigs' heads to deal +1 damage is allowed, however wall climbing is not allowed, which was an interesting decision by the current participants. I was expecting everybody to say yes to wall climbing, but we're going with no. As previously mentioned, the game timer will be set to a default of 30 seconds. Health is set to double with +1 pigs, so every single team will have 5 pigs each. And of course, teams are only allowed a maximum of ×1 medic and ×1 grenadier, with all other classes in multiplayer having no limit. And finally, if you do have a medic on your team, you can only heal once per turn, which was something that we tested out during the rank up tournament. It worked out pretty well, seemed fair and balanced, so we're going to stick with that rule during the league. Next up is the topic of map rotations, specifically the maps that won't be used during this competitive tournament. Friendly Fire, Doomed, Crater Mass, Moonbutts, Death Valley 1 and Dam Busters are all off the table in this league, and that's just because they're not balanced enough for competitive play. Friendly Fire is just the worst map in multiplayer. Like, seriously, have you ever played Friendly Fire and had a good time? I know I haven't. Doomed, I mean, yes, you have the artilleries, but that doesn't make it balanced, and if you fall into the water, it's bye-bye birdie. Meanwhile, Crater Mass is just a mess, Moonbutts has just too many health crates, Death Valley 1 is just insane, and Dam Busters, well, I like Dam Busters. So on to the first set of fixtures for week 1 of the league, and we start with an absolute juggernaut contest between Caster and ADB. You'll remember these two fought in the final of the rank up tournament, with Caster looking to maintain his winning streak in terms of matches, and ADB looking for revenge after finishing runner-up after that crazy game, that final match on the lake. Thankfully, these two won't be playing on the lake on that day. Instead, they'll be facing up on Bridge the Gap, One Way System, and Pig in Hell. The next match to be played this week will be myself against Herpderp. Now, I've seen Herpderp play against Caster, and he fought pretty well, but he has mentioned that he hasn't actually practiced that much, so I am banking on him making some interesting mistakes. I'm hoping, I mean, my own competitive game hasn't really been active at all, seeing as I was hosting the rank up tournament. I did face Caster in a bonus round, but how legitimate that is, I don't really know. But we're going to be playing on Skullduggery, Hedge Maze, and Ridgeback as our 3 maps of choice. Well, not really choice, they're randomized, but that is going to be my fixture for this week. Next up, we have 2 newcomers to the competitive scene of Bobby versus Raging Loony. Now, you'll know Bobby from all of my videos, he's a good friend of mine, and I'll be interested to see and analyze a lot of his tactics, seeing as you'll know him from his incredibly amazing sniper shots and just a bunch of other clips that he's posted on the Discord, in the community, on Steam, just everywhere, you know. And I'm also interested to see how Raging Loony's game is as well, seeing as I've barely ever seen him play. It's going to be interesting. But those guys are going to be playing on Graveyard Shift, Chill Hill, and Island Hopper. Next up is going to be Iron Fox versus Axby. Now, Iron Fox did get knocked out of the first round of the rank up tournament, but to be fair, he was facing up against Caster, who went on to win the tournament, so hopefully he can redeem himself in this first game. And Axby is another person who is new to the competitive scene, or at least some form of competitive tournament, so again, I'll be interested to see how he does in his first game. Now, these guys are going to be playing on Ice Flow, Pigs in Space, and Death Bowl as their 3 matches. And finally, we have Mascatino versus Crumble. Now, I know that Mascatino is very eager to kick this league off and indeed start with a win. He's probably practicing day and night, day after day, just constant practice, getting in those hours as the jetpack ninja that he is. And Crumble, you remember, he was shoutcasting with me during the rank up tournament, so it'll be interesting to see how he does, considering he was knocked out by Herpderp quite substantially as well. But these two will be playing on U-Hillock, Square Off, and Playpen. Don't forget that it will be the top 6 players in this league that go through to the playoffs, so the bottom 4 will be eliminated as we go through to the next round, but that won't be for another 10 weeks or so, so do place your bets on who you think is going to make it through to the playoffs, and indeed who might win this first season. Do let me know in the comments. I have my favourites. I mean, you know, Caster is definitely on the odds, ADB is up there as well, and I'm interested to really see how Bobby kicks into gear in regards to competitive play. But let me know your thoughts on everything in the comments below regarding this pre-season discussion, and I will catch you guys later for the next one.
imagination going.